It was exam day at Hanseong International Academy, one of the most prestigious schools in Seoul. Annabelle Adebayo, a scholarship student from Nigeria, sat quietly among the rows of elite students. She was bright, confident, and nervous. She glanced at the clock. 10 minutes left. The question in front of her made no sense. Her wrist, wrapped neatly in a bandage, ached. Beneath it were tiny notes she had written earlier. She lifted the edge, read quickly, and scribbled the answer down. Across the room, Han Ji-hoon looked up. He saw it. He didn't report her. He simply shook his head, collected his paper, and left the room. When the bell rang, Annabelle followed the crowd out, trying to act normal. Then she heard shouting from the hallway. She pushed through the students and froze. Ji-hoon was on the floor, struggling as Kang Min-suk, known across the school as the untouchable heir of Kang Holdings, grabbed his collar. The gold chain around Min-suk's neck glinted under the lights. Everyone watched, but no one moved. "Think you can talk back to me?" Min-suk hissed. Ji-hoon struggled to breathe. "You're hurting me." No one dared speak until Doyen Okafor, the class president, stepped forward. "Let him go, Min-suk," she said firmly. Min-suk laughed. "Stay out of this, ambassador's daughter." Just then, a teacher ran in and separated them. "Both of you to the office. Now!" Min-suk walked off, smirking. Ji-hoon rubbed his neck, trying to hold his dignity together. Their eyes met. Annabelle wanted to thank him for keeping her secret, but the words came out wrong. "I'm sorry for what happened," she said quietly. Ji-hoon looked at her bandaged wrist, then said softly, "I didn't stay silent for you. I just didn't want to see another person punished for telling the truth." Then he walked away. Welcome to Munlyt Stories, where moonlight meets myth. Love timeless tales? Then hit like, subscribe, and join the circle. Every story begins with you. Later that day, Ji-hoon sat in the student affairs office. The school's lawyer came in. "Min-suk's father is one of our biggest donors," the lawyer said calmly. "If you agree not to file a complaint, we'll transfer you to another school, with full tuition covered." Ji-hoon stood. "I'm not the one who did wrong," he said and walked out. By evening, everyone in school had heard about the fight. "Ji-hoon will get punished," one student whispered. "The principal's afraid of Min-suk's family." No one dared defend him. Even Doyen, who saw everything, stayed silent when the teacher asked for witnesses. When classes ended, Ji-hoon packed his things. He passed Annabelle in the hallway and said, "I thought you were different." Then he left. A week later, on New Year's Eve, a student named Park Jae-min arrived early for club practice. Outside, he saw something lying in the snow near the gym. He ran closer and froze. It was Ji-hoon. The police arrived soon after. The official report said he fell from the rooftop. The school called it a suicide. The Kang family stayed quiet. The principal fired a guard and moved on. But Annabelle couldn't. When an anonymous letter arrived at her door saying, "I saw Kang Min-suk on the rooftop that night," she knew it wasn't over. The truth was only beginning to surface. The morning after Ji-hoon's death, Hanseong Academy felt colder than the snow outside. Students whispered in groups. Some cried. Others acted like nothing had happened. The administration announced a brief memorial and then ordered everyone to move forward. Annabelle couldn't. She sat through class staring at her blank notebook. Every time she blinked, she saw Ji-hoon's face, the quiet look he gave her before saying, "I'm tired of people being punished for the wrong things." That afternoon, the doorbell rang at her apartment. No one was there, just an envelope on the floor. Inside was a single sheet of paper. The handwriting was shaky but clear. "I saw what happened on the rooftop. Kang Min-suk and his friends were there that night." Ji-hoon didn't jump. Annabelle's heart pounded. She showed the letter to her father, Inspector Adebayo, who worked with the Seoul police. "Please," she begged, "you have to look into this." Her father read it, sighed, and placed it on the table. "Annabelle, focus on school. I'll handle this quietly." He took the letter to Hanseong's principal the next day. The principal barely looked at it. "It's probably a prank," he said. "Students love drama. There's no evidence. Let's not make things worse." Inspector Adebayo's jaw tightened. "Then pass it to Detective Bae Soo-jin. She's investigating the case." The principal hesitated, then agreed reluctantly. Detective Bae received the letter that evening. She read it twice, then searched through the student reports again. Something didn't add up. The school's version said Ji-hoon had mental stress, yet none of his friends mentioned that in their statements. She decided to visit the academy the next morning, not to question suspects, but to listen. Her first stop was Park Jae-min. The boy looked exhausted, his eyes red. "Did Ji-hoon ever talk about dying?" she asked. "No," Jae-min said. "He wanted to graduate, help his mom. He wasn't the type to give up." Next was Doyeon Okafor, the class president. They noticed her shaking hands. "You were near the atrium when Ji-hoon fought with Kang Min-suk," the detective said. "What did you see?" Doyeon hesitated. "I didn't see much." "You're lying," Bae said calmly. "If you don't tell the truth now, you'll regret it later." Doyeon looked down. "If I speak, my scholarship disappears. You don't understand this school. Min-suk's family owns everything." Detective Bae sighed. She'd seen it before, power protecting itself. She left without pressing further. That evening, Annabelle found Doyeon waiting for her outside the dorms. "Why didn't you say anything?" Annabelle demanded. Doyeon's voice shook. "Because I'm scared. You think justice matters here? His family could destroy us." Annabelle's throat tightened. "Ji-hoon didn't report me for cheating. He protected me, and we all let him die alone." Neither spoke again. The silence between them said enough. By nightfall, rumors spread across social media. Was it really suicide? Kang Min-suk seen near the rooftop. School covering it up. Annabelle lay awake in bed, staring at the letter on her desk. If the police stayed quiet, she'd find the truth herself. Outside, snow continued to fall, soft, endless, and heavy with secrets. Detective Bae Soo-jin returned to Hanseong Academy the next morning. The hallways looked normal again, students laughing, teachers smiling, but underneath, the air felt uneasy. Everyone pretended Ji-hoon's death was a distant memory. She met with the principal first. He handed her a folder of official reports. Most were short, identical statements. No witnesses. No bullying. No conflict. Bae flipped through the papers and frowned. "These look copied," she said. The principal smiled stiffly. "Our students are busy. I asked them to keep their responses simple." "Simple or identical?" she asked. He didn't reply. Meanwhile, Annabelle walked to school with Doyeon. Neither spoke much. The guilt sat between them like a shadow. When they reached the courtyard, they saw Kang Min-suk arrive in his black car, bodyguards following close behind. Students went silent as he passed. Annabelle clenched her jaw. "He's walking free like nothing happened." Doyeon whispered, "Be careful, Annabelle. He always finds out who talks." During lunch, Detective Bae quietly entered the cafeteria. She started casual conversations, pretending to be a visiting counselor. Some students ignored her. Others were too afraid to answer. Then she met Jae-min. "You were Ji-hoon's friend?" she asked. He nodded. He never talked about suicide. He wanted to study law and change things here. "Did he ever mention Kang Min-suk?" Jae-min hesitated. "Everyone mentions him. Just not out loud." Bae gave him her card. "If you remember anything, call me. Even a small detail." That evening, Annabelle returned home to find her father still awake, reviewing reports. "Your school is worse than I thought," he said quietly. "They're hiding something." "What happens now?" she asked. "I'll push for an independent review," he said. "But the school's lawyers are powerful. Don't get involved." "Promise me." Annabelle didn't answer. The next day, the school gathered for Ji-hoon's memorial. Candles lined the gym floor. Students bowed, some out of respect, others because cameras were watching. Annabelle stood near the back, eyes fixed on the framed photo of Ji-hoon. As the service ended, she noticed Kang Min-suk standing near the exit. He looked bored, tapping his phone. When their eyes met, he smiled faintly, cold and mocking. Later, in the hallway, she caught him alone. "You were with Ji-hoon before he died, weren't you?" she said. He raised an eyebrow. "Careful, scholarship girl. You're talking like a detective. I just want the truth." He leaned close. "Then stop looking for it. Truth gets people expelled or worse." He walked away before she could reply. That night, Detective Bae received an anonymous text. "Check the rooftop cameras. They were deleted 2 hours after Ji-hoon's fall." She rushed to the academy's security office. The footage log confirmed it. Files wiped clean on New Year's Eve at 3:17 a.m. She stared at the timestamp. That's no coincidence. For the first time, she realized this wasn't just about a student's death. It was about control, reputation, and secrets protected by wealth. And now, she wasn't the only one searching for the truth. Annabelle was too. The next morning, Annabelle arrived at school earlier than usual. Snow covered the courtyard, muffling every sound. She glanced up at the tall building, the rooftop where Jihoon had fallen. For a long moment, she just stared. When Doyen found her, she asked, "Why do you keep coming here so early?" Annabelle replied quietly, "Because something about that night doesn't make sense. And no one else cares enough to find out." Doyen sighed. "You can't fight Kang Min-suk. His family practically owns the school." "Then we'll find another way," Annabelle said. During first period, a new rumor spread. The rooftop cameras had been erased. Students whispered, but no one knew who started it. Annabelle suspected it was true. After class, she went to the library, pretending to study but waiting for the right moment. When the librarian stepped out, she sneaked toward the archives room. Inside, she found a dusty box labeled security backups. She opened it, but the rooftop drive slot was empty. Just as she turned to leave, she heard footsteps. Detective Bae Soo-jin stepped in, holding her badge. "Looking for this?" she asked, showing a flash drive. Annabelle froze. "You're the detective." Bae nodded. "You shouldn't be here. But since you are, tell me, why are you so interested in Jihoon's case?" Annabelle hesitated. "Because he didn't deserve what happened. He was the only one who saw me cheating, and he still protected me." Bae looked at her carefully. "So this is about guilt. It's about truth." The detective considered her words. "Then stay quiet for now. I'm reopening the case, unofficially. Don't tell anyone." Annabelle nodded, relieved but still restless. Meanwhile, Kang Min-suk met his father in their family's private office. Chairman Kang's tone was sharp. "I told you to stay invisible until this dies down," he said. "I didn't do anything," Min-suk replied. "Then act like it. The media can't find a reason to dig. Understand?" Min-suk clenched his jaw. "Everyone thinks I killed him." "Then stop giving them reasons to believe it." His father ended the conversation and left. For the first time, Min-suk looked uncertain, not angry, just trapped. Later that evening, Detective Bae examined the flash drive. Most footage was normal, students walking, teachers closing classrooms, until she reached the final clip. The camera facing the rooftop showed a shadow, then another. 3 figures moved near the edge. The video stopped abruptly. She froze the frame, zoomed in, and saw part of a gold chain glinting under the light. Bae whispered, "Kang Min-suk." But without full footage, it wasn't proof, just suspicion. That night, Annabelle received a text from an unknown number. "Stop asking questions. You'll end up like him." Her hands trembled. She showed Doyen, who looked terrified. "Maybe it's a prank," Doyen whispered. Annabelle shook her head. "No. Someone's scared I'll find out the truth." She looked toward the window, snow still falling over Seoul. Jihoon's death wasn't over, and now someone wanted her next. Annabelle barely slept. The text replayed in her mind. "Stop asking questions. You'll end up like him." Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Jihoon's body in the snow. By morning, her decision was made. She wasn't backing down. At school, she showed the message to Doyen again. "We need to tell Detective Bae," Annabelle said. Doyen hesitated. "What if it's from someone powerful? What if it's Kang Min-suk?" Annabelle's voice hardened. "Then he's scared, and that means we're close to something." During lunch, Kang Min-suk walked into the cafeteria as if nothing had happened. Conversation stopped. Even teachers looked uneasy. He spotted Annabelle sitting with Doyen and walked over. "You've been asking a lot of questions lately," he said, his tone casual but cold. "Planning a story for the school paper?" Annabelle met his gaze. "Maybe. You seem nervous about it." Min-suk smiled thinly. "I don't get nervous, but I do get bored. And when I get bored, people start disappearing from this school." The table went silent. Doyen's hand gripped Annabelle's wrist under the table. Annabelle forced a calm smile. "I'm sure that was just a joke." "Of course," he said, leaning closer. "We're all friends here." He straightened his jacket and left, the gold chain glinting under the lights. That evening, Annabelle met Detective Bay near the subway station. She handed her the phone. Bay read the message carefully. Anonymous number. Probably a prepaid SIM. Someone wants to scare you. Then they failed, Annabelle said. Can't you trace it? I can try, Bay replied. But I need a reason to reopen the case officially. The school still insists it was suicide. Annabelle frowned. So they can lie forever? Bay sighed. That's how money works here. But the truth always cracks through eventually. She paused, then added quietly, Just be careful, Annabelle. Don't walk alone after dark. Later that night, Annabelle received another text, this time from Park Jae-min. Jae-min, meet me behind the gym after class tomorrow. I found something. The next day felt longer than usual. Annabelle could hardly focus during lessons. When the bell rang, she hurried to the gym. Jae-min was waiting, holding a small black USB drive. I found this in the school's computer lab, he said. Someone tried to delete it, but the system kept a backup file. They plugged it into his laptop. The screen flickered, showing grainy rooftop footage, 2 students arguing in the dark. Annabelle froze. That's Ji-hoon. And that's Kang Min-suk, Jae-min said. They watched as Ji-hoon stepped back toward the edge. The video cut off before anything else happened. Annabelle covered her mouth. This proves he didn't jump. Jae-min nodded. We need to give this to Detective Bay before someone finds out. Suddenly, footsteps echoed down the hall. The door handle turned. Annabelle whispered, Hide it. They shoved the laptop into her bag just as the door opened, and Kang Min-suk walked in, smiling. Working late? He asked softly. Neither spoke. His eyes flicked to Annabelle's bag. You should be careful, Adebayo. Curiosity has consequences. He left, leaving the door open behind him. Annabelle's heartbeat thundered. She turned to Jae-min. He knows. Jae-min whispered. Then we run faster. The truth wasn't just dangerous anymore. It was alive. Annabelle couldn't focus on anything the next morning. She and Jae-min sat at the back of class pretending to take notes, the USB drive hidden inside her pencil case. Every time the teacher turned, they exchanged quick glances, both knowing that what they had could destroy everything Hanseong tried to hide. At lunch, she whispered, We need to give it to Detective Bay today. Jae-min nodded. I already texted her. She said to meet at the cafe near the subway after school. Annabelle exhaled. Good. We'll end this today. But as they stood to leave the cafeteria, Kang Min-suk walked in. He stopped when he saw them. The same cold smile crept across his face. Skipping lunch already? Must be busy. Jae-min's voice stayed even. Just schoolwork. Min-suk's gaze slid to Annabelle. Funny. You don't look like someone who enjoys homework. He leaned closer and whispered, Whatever you think you found, delete it. Annabelle froze. Her stomach twisted, but she forced herself to meet his eyes. I don't know what you're talking about. He smiled again. Good. Keep it that way. Then he turned and walked off. When classes ended, Annabelle and Jae-min hurried out through the side gate. The winter sun was already setting, the air biting at their faces. They reached the cafe and spotted Detective Bay in a corner booth with a cup of black coffee. Jae-min plugged in the drive and played the file. The detective leaned forward, expression tightening. The video was dark but clear enough. Ji-hoon standing near the edge, Min-suk in front of him, shouting something no one could hear. Then static, and the feed ended. Bay rewound, frame by frame. This is enough to reopen the case, she said quietly. But you two need to stay silent until I get an official order. Annabelle nodded. Will he be arrested? Not yet, Bay said. We need the full file. The ending was cut off. Someone from inside the school deleted it. That night, Annabelle received a call from an unknown number. When she answered, no one spoke, just faint breathing and a single whisper. You shouldn't have gone to the police. Then the line went dead. Her hands shook as she called Jae-min. He's watching us, she said. Calm down, Jae-min replied. We'll stay together tomorrow. He can't scare both of us. The next morning, news spread that the school's computer lab had been broken into. The headmaster claimed it was a technical failure. But Jae-min checked and found every computer wiped clean, including the one that had held the original footage. Detective Bay called them later that evening. The backup you gave me still works. but someone's moving fast to cover tracks. Don't come near the station for now. Annabelle hung up, heart racing. They're trying to erase Ji-hoon completely. Jaemin looked at her. Then we find someone they can't silence. Annabelle met his eyes. Who? He thought for a moment. The journalist who covered the Kong family scandals last year. He hates them. Annabelle nodded slowly. Then that's our next move. Outside, Seoul glimmered under falling snow, beautiful, calm, and full of secrets. Tomorrow, they would break one wide open. The next day, Annabelle and Jaemin met outside Hanseong's gates before sunrise. The city was still waking up, but both of them already looked alert, running on nerves instead of sleep. Jaemin held a folded piece of paper. His name's Kang Dae-ho. He's an investigative reporter, used to work for the Seoul Chronicle before he was blacklisted for exposing corruption in chaebol families. Annabelle adjusted her scarf. Perfect. If anyone will publish the truth, it's him. They took a bus downtown and found a small office above a printing shop. The doorbell was broken. Jaemin knocked twice. A gruff voice answered, "If you're here to sell tutoring services, go home." Annabelle stepped in. "We're not tutors. We're students from Hanseong Academy. We have proof of a murder that was covered up." That got his attention. Dae-ho turned from his desk, hair messy, camera around his neck. Han Ji-hoon's case. Annabelle blinked. "You already know." "Of course," he said. "The police closed it too fast. What do you have?" Jaemin slid the USB drive across the desk. Dae-ho plugged it in. The video played, the same rooftop scene. He leaned closer. "This is real footage." "Yes," Annabelle said. "We got it before the school deleted the rest." He paused the frame, showing the gold chain. "Kang Min-suk." Jaemin nodded. "You know him." "Everyone does. His father's company owns half of Gangnam's skyline." Dae-ho leaned back. "If I publish this, they'll come after me and you. Are you ready for that?" Annabelle didn't blink. Ji-hoon died trying to expose them. Someone has to finish what he started. Meanwhile, inside Hanseong Academy, Kang Min-suk sat in the headmaster's office. His father, Chairman Kang, stood by the window. "The police have nothing," Min-suk said. "But students keep whispering my name." His father's tone was cold. "Then make them stop. Quietly. No scandals until the shareholders' meeting." Min-suk nodded, jaw tight. "I'll handle it." When he stepped out of the office, he texted someone, "Find out where Annabelle Adebayo goes after school." Back at the newsroom, Dae-ho made copies of the video on 2 different drives and handed one to Annabelle. "If they come for me, you still have proof. Keep it hidden." Jaemin looked uneasy. "Will publishing it really be safe?" Dae-ho smirked. "Safe? No. Worth it? Absolutely." He promised to contact Detective Bae before releasing the article. That night, Annabelle returned to her dorm. When she opened the door, she noticed her desk, drawer slightly open. Her things had been searched. Nothing was missing, except her backup USB drive. Her phone buzzed immediately after. A message flashed on screen. Next time, it won't just be a warning. She dropped the phone, heart pounding. Someone had been inside her room. She called Jaemin in a panic. "They found us. The drive's gone," he said firmly. "Then we still have Dae-ho's copy. Meet me early tomorrow. We'll go to Detective Bae before they can stop us." Annabelle nodded, gripping her bag. "We're running out of time." Outside, thunder rolled across the city. The storm and the truth were both getting closer. Rain pounded Seoul through the night. By morning, Hanseong Academy was wrapped in a gray mist that clung to the glass walls and frozen flagpoles. Annabelle barely slept. Every sound outside her dorm had made her flinch. She arrived at the school gate before sunrise, clutching her bag like it held her heartbeat. Jaemin was already waiting, soaked from the drizzle. "They broke into my dorm," she said. "I know," he replied. "Dae-ho called me. At 3 a.m. someone tried to force his office door too." Annabelle's stomach dropped. "They're trying to erase everything. Then we get to Detective Bae before they do." They boarded the first bus out of Gangnam. The ride was silent except for raindrops tapping the windows. Annabelle watched her reflection blur. "Ji-hoon must have known this would happen," she said quietly. "That's why he saved proof in so many places." Jaemin nodded. "He trusted the wrong people." "We won't." When they reached the police station, the front desk clerk looked uneasy. "Detective Bay isn't in," she said. "She's on leave, personal emergency." Annabelle frowned. "Where is she?" The clerk hesitated. "She didn't say, but some men came earlier asking for her files. They said they were from Hanseong Legal." Jaemin and Annabelle exchanged looks. "That's Kang's lawyers," he whispered. They left immediately, heading to Daeho's office. When they arrived, the printing shop door was open. Papers were scattered everywhere. The old computer tower lay smashed on the floor. "Daeho!" Annabelle called. No answer. They found him sitting on the ground behind the desk, holding his arm. Blood trickled down from a cut on his forehead. "They took the computer," he said through clenched teeth. "Two men. Suits. One had a Kong Holdings pin. They warned me to drop the story." Annabelle knelt beside him. "Did they find the backup?" He shook his head weakly. "No. I hid it in the newspaper's archive. Basement storage. Box number 27. Jaemin helped him up. "You need a hospital." "I'll go later," Daeho said. "Right now you need to get that drive. And if you find Detective Bay, tell her to trust no one at the precinct. They've been bought." That evening, Annabelle and Jaemin reached the old Seoul Chronicle building. It was nearly empty, the last few lights flickering in the basement hallway. They found the archives, rows of dusty boxes stacked like tombstones. Box 27 sat on the lowest shelf. Inside, beneath faded papers, was a sealed envelope marked Hanseong Case Number 01. Annabelle exhaled. "We found it." But as she lifted the envelope, they heard footsteps echoing down the hallway. Heavy, deliberate. Jaemin whispered, "Someone followed us." They ducked behind the shelves. Two shadows entered the room, men in dark suits. One carried a small flashlight. "Check every box," the taller one said. "The chairman wants it gone tonight." Annabelle's pulse thundered. She tightened her grip on the envelope and mouthed to Jaemin, "Run." They waited until the men turned the other way, then bolted through the side exit. Outside, rain poured harder, washing across the streetlights as they ran. They had the evidence, but now the hunters knew exactly who held it. The city lights blurred as Annabelle and Jaemin ran through the rain. The envelope thumped against Annabelle's chest with every step. Behind them, footsteps echoed, fast, closing in. "Left!" Jaemin shouted. They darted into a narrow alley between two apartment blocks. The ground was slick. Annabelle nearly slipped. A black car rolled slowly at the other end of the alley, headlights cutting through the mist. "They found us," she whispered. Jaemin pulled her into a stairwell. They climbed to the rooftop and crouched behind a water tank. From below, the sound of car doors opening and voices cursing in Korean floated up. Annabelle clutched the envelope. "They'll search everywhere." Jaemin pulled out his phone. "We can't go to the police. They're compromised. And Daeho's hurt." He hesitated, then said, "There's someone else we can trust." "Who?" "Detective Bays Jr., Officer Kim. Ji-hoon mentioned him once. He was honest." Annabelle nodded. "Then we find him." They waited until the street was clear, then slipped down the back stairs and caught a taxi to Mapo District. Jaemin gave the driver an address he'd found in Ji-hoon's old messages. The car sped through the wet streets, wipers slapping rhythmically. Half an hour later, they stopped in front of a small noodle shop. The sign was half broken. Inside, a young man in plain clothes looked up from his bowl as they entered. "Officer Kim?" Jaemin asked. The man frowned. "Who are you?" "Students from Hanseong. Ji-hoon's friends. We have something you need to see." Annabelle opened the envelope. Inside was a USB drive and several printed reports, exam irregularities, fake grades, and a list of students receiving special protection. At the top of the page, Kong Min-suk. Kim's eyes widened. "Where did you get this?" "It was hidden by a journalist," Annabelle said. "Now people are trying to destroy it." He stood quickly. "Come with me. You're not safe here." He led them through a back door into an old storage room. "Chairman Kang's lawyers are everywhere," Kim said. "If this is real, it could bring down half the board." "It's real," Jaemin said. "We just need proof that ties it to Ji-hoon's death." Kim plugged in the USB and played the first file. It was an audio recording, Ji-hoon's voice, shaky but clear. "They said if I speak, I'll lose everything. But I can't watch them cheat the system anymore. If something happens to me, it wasn't an accident. Annabelle's eyes filled with tears. He knew. Kim looked grim. This is enough for a warrant. But I need to move fast before word gets out. Suddenly, his phone rang. He checked the screen, and his expression changed. They already know you're here. Jaemin stood. We'll run. Kim grabbed his keys. No. I'll drive. My car's out back. They pushed through the door into the rain again. Headlights flashed at the end of the alley, 2 black cars blocking the exit. Annabelle whispered, "It's them." Officer Kim unlocked his car fast. "Get in!" he shouted. Engines roared behind them as the chase began. Tires screeched, rain flew, and Seoul blurred into streaks of light. Annabelle held the drive tight against her chest. If they lost this, Ji-hoon's truth would die again. Rain hammered against the windshield as Officer Kim's car tore through the streets. The black sedans followed close behind, headlights flashing like angry eyes in the mirror. "Seat belts!" Kim shouted. Annabelle grabbed the dashboard, while Jaemin clutched the laptop bag with the evidence. The wipers struggled against the downpour, barely keeping the road visible. "They're gaining on us!" Jaemin yelled. Kim turned sharply down a side street, tires screeching on wet asphalt. "If I can reach the old expressway, we can lose them," he said through gritted teeth. Annabelle looked back. The cars followed relentlessly, one pulling up beside them. A tinted window rolled down, revealing a gloved hand holding a metal rod. It slammed against their side mirror, shattering glass across the road. Kim cursed and accelerated. "They're not ordinary thugs. These are corporate security." Annabelle's pulse raced. "From Kong Holdings?" "Who else?" he said. Minutes later, Kim swerved into a tunnel. The echo of engines bounced off the walls. For a brief second, everything went dark, then bright again as they burst out the other side. Kim made a sudden left, driving into an abandoned warehouse district near the river. He parked behind a row of trucks and cut the engine. Everyone sat still, breath ragged, hearts pounding. "They'll search here soon," Kim said quietly. "We need to split up." "No," Annabelle said firmly. "We stick together." Jaemin nodded. "We can't lose the drive." Kim looked between them. "All right. There's an old government safe house nearby, one Ji-hoon told me about. We can rest there and upload the data to a secure network." Annabelle frowned. Ji-hoon knew about a safe house. Kim nodded. "He helped me once with a student witness." He was smarter than anyone realized. They left the car and ran through the alleys. The rain had turned to mist, soft but heavy enough to hide them. In the distance, car doors slammed and voices shouted orders. "Search everywhere." "They can't have gone far." Annabelle's shoes soaked through as they reached the small building at the end of a narrow street. Kim kicked the door open. Inside was a dusty apartment with a single desk, an old computer, and emergency lights that flickered dimly. "Lock the door," he said. Jaemin plugged in the USB immediately. "If we upload this to cloud storage, they can't destroy it." The old computer whirred to life, fans buzzing. Data began transferring. 20%, 40%, 60%. Then the screen froze. Annabelle panicked. "What's happening?" Kim checked the power. "They've jammed the signal. We're being tracked." A crash outside, boots on gravel. The front door rattled once, twice, then a loud bang. Someone was trying to break in. Jaemin grabbed the drive and yanked it out. "We have to go." Kim pointed to the back exit. "Run to the docks. There's a ferry warehouse across the bridge. Go. I'll hold them off." Annabelle's eyes widened. "You'll get killed." He smiled faintly. "I'm already on their list. Just make Ji-hoon's death mean something." He pushed them toward the back and turned to face the door, gun raised. As Annabelle and Jaemin slipped into the rain again, gunshots cracked behind them, sharp, echoing through the alley. Annabelle didn't look back. She just ran, clutching the drive like her life depended on it, because it did. Annabelle and Jaemin sprinted through the rain, their breaths sharp and uneven. The sound of gunfire faded behind them, replaced by the roar of the river. They didn't stop until they reached the metal bridge, leading toward the dockyard. Jaemin slowed, clutching his side. "We can't leave him," he gasped. Annabelle shook her head, rain dripping down her face. "If we go back, we die too." Kim knew what he was doing. They crossed the bridge, the wet steel trembling beneath their feet. Below, the river churned under the night lights. When they reached the other side, they ducked behind a row of shipping containers. Annabelle opened her bag, checking the USB. Still there. Jaemin's voice trembled. He said uploaded where? Annabelle remembered Jihoon's old email, the one he used to send anonymous tips to students. We'll use Jihoon's account, she said. If we can get to a computer. They slipped into an empty ferry office near the water. Dust, flickering lights, a broken heater. The computers looked ancient, but one still powered on. Annabelle logged into Jihoon's account using his old password from their class project. The inbox appeared. Hundreds of unread messages, most from students thanking him for helping them study. Then one message caught her eye. It was sent the night he died. If you find this, the truth is on the rooftop, but it isn't about me. Annabelle frowned. What did he mean? Jaemin leaned closer. Maybe someone else was the real target. Before they could think further, headlights flashed through the window. 2 SUVs rolled into the dockyard. They found us, Jaemin whispered. Annabelle unplugged the USB and pocketed it. We split up this time. If they get one of us, the other still has the truth. No, Jaemin said. We finished this together. But she was already moving. Outside, shadows ran between the containers. Annabelle crouched behind a forklift, her heart pounding. She could hear voices, low, calm, professional. Search every building, one man ordered. The chairman wants the girl alive. She held her breath as footsteps passed close enough for her to see the reflection of their flashlights on the wet ground. At the same time, Jaemin slipped toward the control shed, trying to find another route out. Inside, he found a working radio system. He pressed the emergency frequency. Detective Bay, if you can hear this, it's Jaemin. They've killed Officer Kim. We have the proof. We're at the Han River docks. Static crackled, then a faint reply. Stay put. I'm coming. Back outside, Annabelle peeked around the forklift. A man in a black coat stood a few meters away, talking on his earpiece. She recognized the gold chain under his collar, Kong Min-suk. Chairman, he said into the mic, the girl's here. I'll handle it myself. Annabelle froze. The sound of her heartbeat drowned everything else. Min-suk turned slowly, scanning the darkness. Annabelle, he called out, voice calm but laced with threat. You wanted truth. Come get it. Rain poured harder. Annabelle stepped out, gripping the USB in her hand like a weapon. You killed him, she said. Min-suk smirked. That depends on what you call killing. He took one step closer. But if you hand me that drive, maybe you won't end up like Jihoon. Before she could answer, a siren wailed in the distance. The police were coming. Min-suk's smile vanished. He turned and ran toward his car. Annabelle stood shaking, the USB clutched tight. For the first time, she realized this wasn't just about Jihoon's death anymore. It was about everything Hanseong Academy was built on. Lies, power, and silence. And tonight, that silence had finally cracked. Police sirens echoed across the river as flashing lights sliced through the rain. Annabelle stood frozen beside the forklift, soaked to the bone, the USB pressed tight in her palm. Within minutes, officers surrounded the dockyard, shouting orders. Detective Bay stepped out of one of the cars, coat whipping in the wind. Annabelle, she called. Annabelle ran toward her, trembling with relief. He was here, Kong Min-suk. He tried to take the drive. Bay guided her behind the police line. Where's Jaemin? He's in the shed, sending the signal. Bay nodded to an officer. Get him. Moments later, Jaemin emerged, drenched but alive. The message went through, he said. The station knows we have the proof. Bay took the USB from Annabelle. You did well. This will finish them. She handed it to a uniformed officer. Get this to forensics. But as the officer turned, a sleek black car screeched to a stop nearby. Kong Min-suk stepped out, flanked by 2 men in suits. His father, Chairman Kong Hyun-woo, followed behind, calm and confident despite the chaos. The chief inspector hurried forward and bowed. Chairman Kong, Sir, we're... You're detaining my son without cause, the chairman interrupted smoothly. I suggest you check your jurisdiction before making a career-ending mistake. Detective Bay stepped between them. Your son interfered with a police investigation and may be connected to a student's death. Kang Hyunwoo smiled faintly. Allegations. From teenagers. You have no admissible evidence. Bae gestured to the officer holding the USB. We have everything we need right there. The chairman turned his gaze to the officer. Give it to me. The young man froze. His eyes flickered between his superior and the most powerful businessman in Seoul. Slowly, he lowered his hand and stepped toward the chairman. No! Annabelle shouted, running forward. That's proof. Don't let him take it. Before she reached them, Bae grabbed her arm. Annabelle, stop! The chairman took the drive, placed it inside his coat, and turned back to his car. This investigation ends here. Bae's voice shook with fury. You can't just walk away. I already have, he said, then looked at his son. Get in, Min-suk. The boy hesitated, meeting Annabelle's eyes for a brief second. Rain streaked down his face, but his expression was unreadable, half guilt, half relief. Then he obeyed. The convoy drove off, leaving the police lights flashing uselessly in the rain. An hour later, Annabelle sat inside the back of a police van, blanket around her shoulders. Jae-min sat beside her, silent. Detective Bae paced outside, phone pressed to her ear. When she returned, her expression was grim. The evidence is gone. The chief says the case is suspended until further notice. Annabelle's throat tightened. Suspended? After everything? Bae knelt beside her. Listen to me. They might control the system, but not forever. We'll find another way. Annabelle looked down at her hands, still trembling. Then we keep fighting. Yes, Bae said. But from now on, we move carefully. They're watching all of us. Outside, the sirens faded into the distance. The night went still again. But in that silence, Annabelle made herself a quiet promise. If the law couldn't expose Hanseong's corruption, she would, even if it cost her everything. The next morning, Hanseong Academy acted as though nothing had happened. The halls gleamed, the morning bell rang, and students hurried to class like obedient shadows. But the air was heavy. Everyone had heard about the police at the docks. Annabelle walked through the hallway slowly, feeling every whisper trail behind her. She was with Ji-hoon. They say she accused Min-suk again. She'll get expelled for sure. She ignored them all and headed straight to the computer lab. The room was empty. She locked the door, turned on a computer, and plugged in Ji-hoon's old flash drive, the one he'd hidden in his school bag weeks before his death. She hadn't told anyone about it yet, not even Detective Bae. The files inside were encrypted, but one folder opened easily. Inside were scanned copies of emails between the principal and Kong Holdings executives, arranging academic exceptions for specific students. Her heart pounded. This was it. Real proof. She typed a message and attached the files. To Kang Dae-ho. Subject: the real story behind Hanseong. Body: publish this. Even if they shut me down, let the world see. Annabelle. She hit send, sat back, and exhaled. Meanwhile, in a glass office high above the city, Chairman Kong read the morning headlines. Police investigate Hanseong's student's death. Beneath it, a grainy picture of Annabelle and Jae-min at the docks. He smiled faintly. The children are brave, he said to his assistant. But bravery without power is suicide. His phone buzzed. Min-suk's voice came through, quiet and tired. Father, maybe we should let it go. People are starting to talk. No, the chairman cut in. You let one rumor grow, and your empire burns. I'll deal with the girl myself. At the same time, in her apartment, Detective Bae was working off the grid. Her phone had been tapped, her badge temporarily revoked, but she wasn't finished. She opened an anonymous email from an old journalist contact. It contained the same files Annabelle had just sent Dae-ho, plus something new, the missing footage. Her eyes widened. It was the complete rooftop video. Ji-hoon and Min-suk argued, voices faint but clear. Ji-hoon shouted, "You're protecting a lie." Min-suk pushed him, then froze as Ji-hoon stumbled backward, off the edge. The camera caught his fall. It wasn't murder, but it wasn't an accident either. Bae whispered, negligent homicide. That evening, the news exploded. Breaking. Leaked evidence exposes Hanseong Academy corruption. Screens across Seoul flashed with Ji-hoon's name and photos of school officials. By the next morning, Hanseong Academy was chaos. Reporters swarmed the front gates, flashing cameras, shouting questions at any student who dared to walk in. Parents called nonstop. The school's name trended online beside words like scandal, corruption, and cover-up. Annabelle arrived early with her hood pulled low. Students watched her like she was radioactive. Some whispered hero, others hissed traitor. Doyen met her by the lockers. "They're blaming you," she said quietly. "The principal told teachers to say you leaked confidential records." Annabelle clenched her jaw. "Then they're right." "You don't understand," Doyen warned. "The board's meeting today. They want someone to take the fall." In the principal's office, the atmosphere was tense. Chairman Kong sat beside his legal team, expression unreadable. Across from him, the principal trembled, dabbing sweat from his forehead. "This scandal has destroyed the academy's reputation," the chairman said calmly. "We'll restore it by removing the problem." The principal stammered. "But sir, the student, Annabelle Adebayo, she's an example," Kong interrupted. "A public expulsion will satisfy the press. Prepare the documents." "Yes, Chairman," the principal whispered. Min-suk sat silently in the corner, guilt shadowing his face. "Father, maybe this isn't necessary." Kang's gaze snapped to him. It became necessary the moment she humiliated this family. Min-suk looked down, defeated. Outside, Detective Bae watched the meeting from her car, camera lens focused on the office window. She'd been reinstated that morning, barely, but had orders not to interfere. Still, she knew how this would end if she didn't act. Her phone buzzed. It was Annabelle. "They're going to expel me," the message read. Bae replied, "Meet me at the River Cafe after class. Don't go home alone." At noon, a sudden announcement echoed through the loudspeakers. "All students, report to the auditorium for an emergency assembly." The hall filled quickly. Cameras from the media waited outside the doors, flashes ready. On stage stood the principal and Chairman Kong. The principal cleared his throat. "It's with deep regret we address recent rumors about Hanseong Academy. Certain false documents have damaged our image. The student responsible, Annabelle Adebayo, will be expelled for misconduct and defamation." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Annabelle stood, trembling but unafraid. "Those documents were real," she said, voice carrying through the hall. "You just don't like that the world saw the truth." The principal tried to speak, but Chairman Kong raised his hand. "Young lady," he said coolly, "truth is what the powerful decide it is." Annabelle glared back. "Then maybe power needs a new definition." Students began recording on their phones. For the first time, some even clapped. Kang's expression hardened. He turned to his security team. "Escort her off campus." But before they could move, the doors burst open. Detective Bae strode in, flashing her badge. "Step away from the student," she ordered. "New warrant, issued by the Seoul District Court." The crowd erupted in murmurs. Bae faced the stage. "Chairman Kong, you're under investigation for evidence tampering and obstruction of justice. You're coming with us." Annabelle's breath caught. The chairman smiled coldly. "Do you really think justice survives in this country, Detective?" "Today it will," Bae said. Officers moved forward, surrounding him. Cameras outside caught every second. As the chairman was led away, Annabelle stood still, heart pounding. Doyen whispered, "You did it." But Annabelle knew better. The truth had only wounded the empire, it hadn't destroyed it. And somewhere deep down, she knew the Kong family would strike back. Thank you so much for staying with us till the very end of the story. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear the lessons you learned and your thoughts on how we can continue improving to give you the very best. Here at Munlyt Stories, every tale is crafted with passion, care, and dedication. Our mission is simple: to entertain, inspire, and connect us all across cultures and hearts. So, keep the conversation alive in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. Till next time, we are Munlyt Stories, bringing you amazing tales that touch hearts and spark imaginations. Stay blessed. Stay inspired. See you in the next story.